First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
And we begin with breaking news in Ahoskie, North Carolina, where a baby boy is dead.
And right now, no one is facing charges. 10 on your side's Ann McNamara has more. Ann?
Nicole, someone called 911 on Tuesday night because the baby wasn't breathing. Ahoskie EMS crews found the 5-month-old unresponsive. Deputies say he died from blunt trauma to his body, but didn't go into any further detail. The deputies are calling this a homicide investigation, but haven't filed any charges yet. They say they are following up on several leads, and right now, 10 on your side has a crew in Ahoskie. We'll let you know what they find out. I'm Ann McNamara, 10 on your side.
The Virginia legislature is in uncharted waters, and the House is trying to send the Senate a life preserver.
Yeah, right now, Virginia has no budget bill, and cities and school districts working on their own budgets are in limbo. Today, the House unanimously approved 2 new budget bills, but Senate Democrats have threatened to kill them again if they don't get what they want.
We're extremely disappointed that our Democratic colleagues have chosen to put politics over policy and politics over people.
Lieutenant Governor Bill Bolling and Senate Majority Leader Tommy Normant are calling on Virginians to call out their Democratic leaders.
I am embarrassed for them. And the reason I'm embarrassed for them, if this is not Washingtonian behavior, I have never seen it.
So what will it take for Senate Democrats to approve a budget? I called those who represent Hampton Roads. Here are their answers. Mamie Locke said Democrats are fighting for a budget that protects children and families, one that prepares Virginia for a prosperous future. Senator Ralph Northam told me the governor and leaders from both sides need to sit at a table and compromise. Until that happens, he says, we'll be at a stalemate. And Yvonne Miller told me to ask her leadership. I ask again, adding, but your constituents didn't elect Minority Leader Saslaw, they elected you. Her reply, they elected me to represent them as part of the Democratic team. And as part of that team, I'm following the lead of our leadership. So I did call Majority Leader Saslaw's office. I'm still waiting to hear back. Now, what happens next? Everyone I talked to today said the same thing. I don't know. In past budget stalemates, the conference committee would meet and work out a compromise. Then they called the GA back into special session to vote on it. But because there is no active pending bill, at least at this time, there's no precedent for what will happen next. Meantime, cities and schools on Hampton Roads who depend on state dollars to operate are wondering where the ball is going to drop. Virginia Beach schools, which already are struggling to fund a budget, do not plan to quietly stand by and watch their legislators.
I'm really fired up because we have a crisis situation that people are only now just realizing.
The Virginia Beach Education Association will hold a rally right here at Mount Trashmore from 10:30 until noon on Saturday. Their message to legislators, funding public education needs to be priority number 1.
It might be winter, but it almost felt like summer today. We hit 80 degrees and almost tied the record, which was set nearly a century ago. Chief Meteorologist Don Slater is in the Super Doppler 10 Weather Center with details for us. So is this going to stick around, Don?
No, it's not. But it's not going to be that bad either. Here's a look at what's going on. We will cool on down towards Sunday, but Saturday night and Sunday. Here's what's going on. Our high temperature today, 77, 80, 81. A few more cities out there, 80, 81, 79 in Williamsburg. A little cooler at the eastern shore where that breeze coming in off the water has held the temperature down. But again, very, very warm day. And look at this. My colleague Jeff Edmondson just pointing at the tower cam. He said, it looks like the heat of summer out there. And it really does. It looks almost hazy out there. And it's been very, very warm here the past several days, showing you what's going on from Sunday, 48, 63 on Monday, back down a bit. So temperatures kind of up and down. They're way up, though, for today. Here's a look at what's going on with our temperatures during the day today. 67 this morning, a little bit of rain this morning, but then again, sun popped on through and 80 degrees, very breezy day, and we're going to see things cool back down a little bit for tomorrow. Record for today stands at 81, set back in 1918. Normal high is 54, so we were 26 degrees above normal, and as long as we got you, December through February, 4th warmest on record. We'll tell you more about what we can expect into the weekend in a few minutes.
A mild and wet winter is creating the perfect breeding ground for some very costly bugs. 2 types of bugs are showing up earlier than normal and in greater numbers. 10 on your side's Ava Hurdle is live in Portsmouth with the downside of a warm winter season. Ava?
Nicole, an expert told me that termites are actually making their presence known earlier due to that mild weather. They have a huge appetite for wood, and when the conditions are right, you might encounter termites here in Hampton Roads. It's one of the top places in the nation for these insects.
Always in the top 10 of termite pressure in the country. Always. And it has been. I've been doing this 37 years. Always in the top 10.
And that's because we have
sandy loam soil, so the soil is very easy for them to travel through. High moisture content, that's probably the two biggest things. Temperate climate.
He admits today is ideal.
Termites swarm when it gets above 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So I usually put February the 15th on my calendar for termites to swarm. This year they swarmed earlier than that, right at the beginning of February.
This is the Asian tiger mosquito here.
Penny Smelser, a Norfolk Health Department biologist, isn't surprised given the winter we've had. She predicts another pesky bug will soon show up, mosquitoes.
Yeah, we've had such mild temperatures. We didn't have but maybe an episode or two of snow. We've had very little below freezing temperatures, and those are the kind of things that would kill off some of those overwintering mosquitoes. But we haven't had a lot of that, so a lot of those mosquitoes have been able to survive over the winter.
She expects we'll be seeing those bugs in April this year, which is a month earlier than normal. Now ahead at 6, what you can do now to prepare for these unwelcome pests. Live in Portsmouth, Ava Hurdle, 10 on your side.
Now take a look here at what a tornado did to the Midwest. It killed a dozen people and left survivors here to clean up the destruction. NBC's Jay Gray has more now from the hardest hit town, Harrisburg, Illinois.
They are the sounds of survival in Harrisburg. Chainsaws, front loaders, and tractors. Others gathering what they can by hand. Still, many here cannot clear away the haunting images of yesterday's deadly storm.
I heard a crackling sound, a big light, and then a big explosion.
Charles Turner's home was leveled. He and his wife swept up in the debris and thrown 50 feet.
Once I woke up, I got to hollering for her. She was crawling out from underneath the dryer.
A day after looking at this twisted and mangled mess, it's hard for many to believe it all happened in the blink of an eye.
People have said it lasted 32 seconds, but it seemed like it was 32 minutes.
Survivors who understand, even with all that's happened here, they are the lucky ones. At least a dozen people died as tornadoes ripped across 5 states. 6 of those victims in the tight-knit community of Harrisburg.
We haven't had any fatal tornadoes since 2004, and that's why today is a sad day. People who were here 24 hours ago are in heaven today.
While this grieving community sifts through the hell 180-mile-an-hour winds left behind.
I'm nervous, I'm shaky, I'm tired. I just don't even have words for everything that you feel.
But then there's not much that can be said here. A battered town working to recover and now worried about the latest forecast that includes the possibility of another round of powerful storms as early as tomorrow.
We do not want to go through this again, and we will do everything we can to protect our people.
Many who are already struggling to survive. Jay Gray, NBC News, Harrisburg, Illinois.
Last year, 51 tornadoes hit Virginia, the second highest number on record. So to encourage awareness, Governor Bob McDonnell has declared March 20th Tornado Preparedness Day. He hopes that every business, school, and family will take part in a statewide drill. It's set for 9:45 that morning.
Someone was set to close on a Virginia Beach home today, but it burned to the ground this morning. Flames quickly spread through the model home on Loxley Arch. The fire even spread to the house next door. Fire investigators say lightning struck the home and caused that fire. 2 incidents left thousands of people without power in Chesapeake this morning. A circuit problem knocked out the lights for 1,500 customers at around 9. A bit later, a driver crashed into a utility pole on South Military Highway. That knocked out power to hundreds of others. Dominion Virginia Power says most of those outages have now been fixed.
Skeletal remains found in Portsmouth more than 15 years ago remained a mystery until now. How the medical examiner is finally piecing together the puzzle at 5:30.
And hear what a student saw that put a local high school on lockdown this morning. Then.
And most of all, I'm going to miss his hugs and kisses.
For the first time, family members of those shot and killed at an Ohio high school are speaking out.
A report of a man with a gun put a local school on lockdown this morning. It happened at Granby High School in Norfolk. A student reported seeing a man with a rifle, but turned out he was a guest instructor for the junior ROTC program. Officials put the school on a precautionary lockdown after getting the initial report. They lifted it at about an hour later.
A bad scene at this Chicago school today. One student was killed, another hurt after a stabbing inside. It happened this morning at the alternative school on the city's south side. Police arrested a suspect who's also a student. The school is for teens that have been expelled or suspended from the Chicago school system. 3 days after a teen allegedly shot 5 people at an Ohio high school, police finally filed charges against him. The 17-year-old is facing 3 counts of aggravated murder. He's also facing attempted aggravated murder and felony assault, all charges he faces in juvenile court. Now, that would only mean a few years in detention, but the prosecutors already said that he plans to try the boy as an adult. That could mean life in prison. For the first time today, victims' family members spoke out about the attack. They described them as happy teens who are full of life.
Great memories of Danny will always be cherished in our hearts. Danny will never forget you. We love you.
The Muses was energetic and a good young man.
Classes in Chardon are scheduled to resume on Friday.
The Senate blocked a Republican attempt to overturn the president's policy on providing insurance for birth control. The measure was defeated today by a vote of 51 to 48. It would have allowed religious-affiliated employers and insurers to opt out of providing contraception as part of health care benefits. GOP leaders say President Obama's mandate is an attack on religious freedoms. Democratic leaders say the proposed measure was an attack on women's rights.
You've heard of thank you cards? Well, a Norfolk man made a thank you sign and posted it in his front yard. We'll explain why.
Then, mixed with caffeine, 4 Loko could be dangerous and sometimes deadly. So the drink maker pulled the stimulant, but the government is still getting complaints. Find out why.
If you don't already, it's time to get to know your neighbors. It might pay off in more ways than one.
That's the message from a Norfolk man, and he's spreading it from his own front yard. 10 on your side's Walter Hildebrand explains why.
Before these lawns get littered with signs telling you who to vote for this fall, there's one sign in the neighborhood that's already getting some attention.
They told me that 3 people had been involved in breaking and entering my home.
It was Billy Harrell's home that was being burglarized, and like the sign says, it happened just last Thursday in broad daylight.
They went in an unlocked tool shed and took out 2 different shovels, and that's what they used to break the door in.
The burglars might have thought they'd make a clean getaway, but while they were inside deciding what to take, his neighbors were calling police.
They had caught them as they exited the house, and they regained the property that the fellows had taken from my house.
Norfolk police caught them in the act, but Harrell will tell you his neighbors had a big part in making that happen.
My neighbors know that that I would be unlikely to have three teenagers or young adults around in my yard during the day.
And being a good neighbor himself, Harrell made this sign at his shop in Virginia Beach to get the word out.
One of the reasons I put the sign out was because a friend had told me one of the best things you can do is let your neighbors know that something has happened like this, and in this case it happened to me, and I didn't want to be shy about it. I wanted to let people in the neighborhood know this occurred to me.
Residents here told us that from time to time they see people coming through the neighborhood who have no business here. Harrell is just happy they were looking out for him. In Norfolk, Walter Hildebrand, 10 on your side.
And he says he's going to keep that sign up for about another week. Probably
Good neighbors.
To let people know, yeah, what's going on.
Yeah, and don't
be shy, speak up, and look what you can do. That's great.
Well, I don't know. I think there's a lot of people out there enjoying this weather today. Hopefully they're watching us at some point, but it's very nice.
Absolutely. I mean, was this a record? It was like, what, close to 80 today?
Close. The record is 81. So far, we've hit 80.
Close but no cigar, huh?
Yeah, close enough to and keep the windows open. Shout out your neighbors outside.
Come on over.
Yeah. Anyway, here's what's going on. We got some big changes coming up by the weekend. You know that when we hit a record high or near a record high, that we've got some changes ahead, and we do indeed have changes ahead, especially coming up by the weekend. So again, very, very quiet right now, and very, very warm. But we want to show you where those changes are going to be coming from. It's clear skies overnight and through most of the day tomorrow. Later in the day, we'll see some clouds. We'll see some warmer airlift northward tomorrow night, and then Saturday during the middle of the day, we'll likely see some scattered showers and some thunderstorms move on through. Now, it does not look like we'll see severe weather out of this line of thunderstorms popping on through during the middle part of the day, right noon to around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But earlier in the day, right through here where they don't need it, they could see some severe weather early on Saturday morning. So again, it'll kind of expend its energy during the early part of the day, and as it moves toward us, it'll likely just plain fall apart. Now, we've got a little bit cooler air dropping through this evening. Winds will flip over to the northwest, and it'll cool things on down a little bit into the region. Now, again, we are looking at that front. We'll play it here for you again. There's that front overnight. Winds become more easterly, and then east-southeasterly in the middle of the day tomorrow, and then around 3, 4 o'clock, clouds move back in. At the end of the day, this front is lifting northward, 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds, 10-mile-an-hour winds at midnight tomorrow night, and it'll be nice and warm tomorrow night into Saturday morning and Saturday during the first part of the day. But here comes the rain by around the noon hour, starting to see some rain. But again, they're not really, really big thunderstorms. We could see a rumble or two of thunder. Southerly winds 20 to 25. As we are 10 o'clock in the morning, noon hour, some scattered showers and thunderstorms, rather windy, still warm, but then it starts to cool off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon as that cool front drops on through. There's where we are by 7 o'clock in the evening, and this front will get hung up along the outer banks. So I think we could see some rainfall right along the coastline first part of the day on Sunday as well. Look at this tomorrow, 58 to 65. I'm being optimistic and going for 64 for a high temperature for tomorrow. Here's where we are into Saturday morning. We actually warm up by Saturday morning, 65 and around 71 at the noon hour, but then the rain drops through, the front drops through, and our temperatures drop slightly by that point. Lots and lots of sunshine through the region right now. Mostly clear skies. Temperatures still well into the 70s after a high so far of 80 degrees. So again, very, very warm out there. Temperatures topped off into the upper 70s and low 80s throughout the region during the day for today. Tonight, we'll drop on down a bit with some cooler air into the mid 40s quite likely. And during the day tomorrow, 64 degrees. Now, this is not a washout on Saturday, but we'll likely see some rain, and we could see a bit of coastal rain coming up on Sunday morning, 55, 50 on Monday, 48, that's it on Tuesday, but warming back up again for Wednesday and Thursday. So again, not bad tomorrow, and then warm on Saturday, but not a washout.
Do you have a tough time falling asleep? Tonight at 5, hear the results of a study that might make you think twice before popping a pill to help you rest.
And students in North Carolina, look, they're racing out of their classrooms. But why? We'll tell you what has them running for their lives at 5:30.
The feds are taking another look at Four Loko, the carbonated alcoholic drink guzzled around the country. The Federal Trade Commission is looking over a wave of complaints. Under review, the amount of alcohol in the drink and how it's marketed. Four Loko gained national attention in 2010 after it was linked to several deaths, including 57-year-old Davis Lucas of Virginia Beach. He was hit and killed by a man who admitted he drank 2 cans before getting behind the wheel. Back then, the drink was a caffeine alcohol mix. Since then, the manufacturer removed the caffeine and started selling it without the energy kick, but still with plenty of alcohol.
Meat labels are getting beefier. Those nutrition labels you see on everything from canned soup to cereal are now being placed on the most popular cuts of meat. They'll list calories, fat, cholesterol, and the total carbs, information the USDA says consumers want.
They want to be able to make well-informed choices, and they want to be able to do that with information that's quick and easy to understand.
Now, you may not see a label on every single package there. Grocery stores are allowed to list the information on a wall near the meat counter.
Many people rely on sleeping pills to get a good night's sleep, but new research shows they might be putting your life at risk. A study tracked over 10,000 people who took sleeping pills for 2.5 years. Doctors found they were almost 5 times as likely to die after popping the pills. With high dosages, it even increased the risk for cancer.
You know what sleeping pills do? They stop our brain cells from firing. Well, maybe that puts us to sleep or helps us forget how poorly we sleep. But if you're driving a car, not having your brain cells working isn't good.
The study looked at 8 different medications, including Ambien. All of them are FDA approved on the basis of their safety and effectiveness.
It is officially quicker to drive around Hampton Roads. Find out where the speed limit is going up and why you might not see signs telling you about the change for a while.
And will that speed limit increase cause more crashes out there on the roads? Tonight, we look at some state highways to see if speed reduces safety at 5:30. Starting today, you can drive faster on several interstates in Hampton Roads. The Virginia Department of Transportation raised the speed limit to 60 miles per hour on parts of Interstate 64 and 664. We have those highlighted for you there on the screen. You'll see the increase on Interstate 64 from Hampton Road Center Parkway to Hampton Coliseum and from Bowers Hill to the Virginia Beach Chesapeake City line. The same will go for Interstate 664 from the Coliseum to Bowers Hill. It's going to take about a week to get all of those new speed limit signs posted. Other parts of the state have increased their speed limits to 70 miles per hour. Tonight at 5:30, hear if those changes have led to a higher number of crashes as well.
And cold cases solved thanks to new technology.